Good afternoon, and welcome to the talk show that everybody everywhere is talking about. I'm talking about the one and only GA for Justice, and you know it's the holidays. I got to put that Christmas tree up because she's celebrating and she's ready to come on and do her thing. Georgia, are you there? That community
I am
activist.
here. I
How
am
you
here.
doing?
I am here. I am here. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Well, hello, everybody. Hello, Henderson.
Yeah.
Again, I am Georgia F. Allen with GA for Justice. And GA for Justice come to you normally every week at 12 o'clock noon. We are running a little behind today, but we still wanted to bring you the show. As
Yeah.
you are well aware, we celebrate Kwanzaa all year long. And this today, Kwanzaa principal focus is Imani or faith, to believe with all our hearts in our people, in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. And that is critically important because we have a tendency to forget that there were those who came before us that fought for the things that we enjoy today. Today's topic is focus, fruitful, and faithful. And as always, we reach back and talk about voting. So when you're voting, you need to make sure that you're focused. But also, when you're voting, you also want to make sure you're fruitful. That means you're bringing about real results. And then finally, you want to make sure you're faithful because you want to make sure that you're consistent, that you're steadfast in terms of making sure that we're doing what is in the best interest of our community. Our faith message today is broken up a little bit. It's Luke 18 and 3. Grant me justice against my adversary. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I want you guys to go out and do reading for yourselves. That way you can come back and you can challenge me. The next verse is a portion of the verse, which is 18:4. The judge refused. And then Luke 18:5, the judge comes back again and he says, yet, because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice. If you know anything about me, that is one of the things that I fight for continuously, to get justice. So if you read all three verses of Luke 18:3, 4, and 5, it will go into detail of how this woman refused to back down. So with our show today, when we're talking about focus, fruitful, and faithful, this woman was focused. She was determined that she was going to get the outcome that she wanted. And because she was focused, guess what? It bore fruit. She got results. Because she was focused, she was also faithful because she was steadfast. She did not back down. So therefore, things came to be because of her faithfulness, because of her focus, and because of her fruitfulness. So today, as always, I like to open with a short greeting. Yes, it is Thursday, and I am Georgia F. Allen with GA for Justice. And as always, we want to thank Mr. Henderson Vaughn, a.k.a. Captain 85, a.k.a. the Dream Maker on WVDM, who has opened up the airwaves to bring our listening audience a conversation, a simple conversation for information, a conversation for corrections when necessary, as well as a conversation for transformation. My disclaimer: many of you are well aware that I have worked in civil rights and have been a community activist for decades. Therefore, the various positions that I may take are mine and mine alone. I do not speak on behalf of any groups or organizations or associations that I may be affiliated with. And with that being said, it is that time to speak to the community. We are headed toward the end of the year, and I'm going to spend some time focusing on the future and the well-being of our community, because I think that is very important, especially as we're looking forward into the new year. And I get questions all the time. Georgia, how do you come up with the topics that you use? People will come up to me and they'll say, you always come up with some interesting topics. Sometimes my topics come to me in the middle of the night. There are times when I've decided on one topic for the show, and in the middle of the night, something comes up. And my spirit moves and says, you know what, you need to talk about this tomorrow. And so there are other times when I look at different things on social media. And so I'll find topics like today's topic, which I want to acknowledge. A gentleman, a minister, was on, and he was talking about staying focused, staying fruitful, staying faithful, and trying to make sure that people don't get you off course. And when I heard that, I was like, you know what? That's a good topic for GA for Justice. And there are other times when I'll go back and I will have a list of topics that I write down as I'm running around trying to get ready. Or there are times when I'm out and about or I'm looking at social media, and I'll just jot down a lot of things that I hear other people talk about. And from those different ways, I will come up with my own topic in many instances. But again, I want to acknowledge that this topic came from a minister on YouTube or TikTok or one of the many social medias out there. So if someone hears and it says, well, I heard that before, and that pastor said that, I want to acknowledge him, even though I don't remember his name right now. I want to acknowledge him because a lot of times when you have social media, you'll save the clip and then you can't find the clip that you saved where you saved it. So that is the reason why I'm not able to give the gentleman his just due. But today's topic is focused, fruitful, and faithful. I'm going to start with how important it is as we go into the new year, going into 2025, how important it is that we make sure that we are focused. We are focused on the well-being of our community, on the well-being of our families. We are focused on justice. We are focused on making sure that when it comes to the laws that are being made, that we're engaged in all of this. So it's critically important that we are focused. And focus is really about being intentional. And when I say intentional, you need to sit down with yourself first, and determine what it is that you want to get accomplished in the new year. Next, I would recommend that you sit down with your family and take a look at where we are right now. Are things going the way we would like for them to go? Are we working on the issues that we should be working on, or are we getting off course? Because if we're not focused, we can be easily swayed to work against our own best interests. We can easily be swayed to get off track. And so it's important that we are intentional in this time that we're in right now, because this is a unique time. And you will hear people say all the time, there's nothing new underneath the sun. There may not be anything new underneath the sun, but there are different people dealing with the things that are taking place right now. These are not the same people that were there when this particular situation took place. So while the issue or the things that are taking place are not new, the people who are dealing with them are new. While the issues may not be new, those of us who are here today, we are new to the issues that we are dealing with at this time. Now, some of us, we may have seen some of these issues when we were much younger, and we looked at it very differently than we're looking at it today. So again, the issues may not be completely new. They may be the same issues that have taken place previously, but those of us who are dealing with it, the challenges that we see that maybe someone else did not see, are very real to us at this particular time. So it's critically important that we stay focused. And I like to use it like a shotgun. If you're going to use a shotgun, you need to know what you're aiming at. You need to make sure that you know what you're aiming at. You make sure that you're looking at that guide, that little lever that tells you that if I use this gun and I have a target over there, I need to be able to see that target clearly. And if I close both eyes, the chances are I'm not going to hit that target. So I got to open up my eyes. I have to be intentional about my target. And I have to know what my target is. I can't decide to shoot at a bird when I wanted to shoot a deer. I cannot decide to shoot at a bird when I wanted to shoot at a deer. I also got to make sure that I have the right equipment to shoot at the two different types of animals, because one may require a gun that is larger and bullets that are larger than the one of the smaller object. So that's the other thing. When we are focused, we need to make sure we got the right tools in our toolbox. Okay? Because if we don't, we're not going to be successful. So make sure we also have the right tools in that toolbox. So when I'm looking out across our city, across our nation, and all of these different challenges are coming before us, I have to make sure that I stay focused, because if I don't stay focused, then people are going to move me off track. And then I won't get half of what I want to get accomplished done. And so today, we want to make sure that we're focused. If voting is an issue for you, not only do you want to make sure you vote, but you also want to make sure that you're educated about who you're voting for. You also want to make sure that you're educated about what the impact is going to be if you don't vote, if you vote for the wrong people, or if you haven't put together an agenda that you place before the candidates that you're asking for them to support your issues. Because if you have not given them a list of items, you can't be angry when they don't do anything on your behalf. And I find a lot of times that people get out here and they say they know how to play chess while other people are playing checkers. And then when you finish listening to everything that they're saying, the chess game that they're playing, a 1-year-old would not have played that chess game. So we want to make sure that we are intentional. We also want to make sure that we're attentive to what it is that we're focused on. So we can't bounce all over the place. We got to stay attentive to the issues and to the items that we're focused on. So if the item is about making sure that there's funding going into communities of interest, or going into communities that have been disenfranchised, you can't go to the table saying you want an apple, because you need enough money to be useful for the community. And an apple, the price of an apple will not do that. So another thing that happens a lot of times is when we're asking for things, we lowball the things that we want as well as the things that we need. So therefore, we're off focus or we're off balance. And I want us to get in gear, get on balance, and get focused, because we have a limited amount of time to help to change outcomes. a limited amount of time to help change our various outcomes. We also have to be somewhat immovable, meaning we have to sink our teeth into something and we have to ask for it over and over again. Remember the scripture that I shared with you earlier? The widow was bothering him. The judge said, this widow is bothering me. She didn't bother him one time, 2 times, 3 times. This woman was coming back to him every single day, every single week. She was not going to give up. Okay. So if we want to have the outcome, we got to be immovable. We got to be consistent. We got to keep on pushing. Do you have something to share, Henderson? Because if we are not staying focused, if we're not pushing the envelope, then after a period of time, they said, well, they didn't call me back. They were supposed to call me back on this day. They didn't call me back. So guess what? I can put it on the back burner. I can forget about it. But if you're focused, guess what? They don't get to forget about it because you're there like that widow and you keep bothering them. And you need to know how to keep bothering them again and again and again and not give up. Because that's how you're going to get the best outcome, because you cannot give up. Now, the next thing is you have to be fruitful. There are a lot of people out here and they call themselves working. In old days, we used to call it busy work. Busy work. Oh, they were working. They were busy. But what they weren't doing, they weren't producing fruit. They weren't yielding fruit. They were doing busy work, but they weren't being productive. So you got to be focused, but you also have to be fruitful because you got to yield something of value. If you're planting seeds and you're not watering the seeds, you will not receive a harvest. You're not going to yield a harvest. There will be no growth. If you plant seeds and you're not fertilizing the seeds, the chances are, again, you will not be fruitful. If we want to be fruitful, we can't do just one thing and say, oops, I planted the seed. I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. I'm done. What we want are people who are fruitful. Going into 2025, you better believe you need to be fruitful. Because if you're not, there are enough obstacles out there already getting in gear to put another stumbling block and another stumbling block and another stumbling block in your way. So therefore, you must stay focused. You must be determined. And that's why I love the principles of KWANZAA. They talk to you about that. You have to be unified. You got to be fruitful. And how are you going to be fruitful? You're going to be fruitful more or less as a team. Because if you think for 1 minute you're going to be able to do all of this by yourself, you're in for a rude awakening. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. You also have to be constructive. You got to put some elbow grease into this. You can't just sit here and be nonchalant about this work called civil rights. You can't be nonchalant about this work called community. You can't be nonchalant about this work called neighborhoods. You can't be nonchalant about this work called politics, because politics affect everything. There is nothing that politics does not affect. I was pulling up information on people like Bezos and all of these guys that are out here buying up all of these homes. And people are like, oh, it's inflation, it's this, it's that. No, they're removing homes from the market. So if they buy up all these homes and everything, that reduces the number of houses that people have an option to buy at a reasonable price. So they have the ability to change the cost of all these homes. They're now doing the same thing with other land. So where there are farms and places where people can farm, they're buying up land like that. And when they do that, guess what? The cost of groceries goes up. So it's not inflation, it's intentional. As I told you, they're focused. They are about their business. They are truly about their business. The Bill Gates, the Zuckerbergs, Ted Turner, all of these folks that have these companies and stuff, they are about their business. And so we have to be about our business. And our business is each other. Our business is our family. Our business is our community. Our business is our neighborhoods. Our business is our schools. Our business is our small business owners. We have to be intentional about that. We have to make sure that it's yielding results, it's yielding a benefit, because if it's not, then we're not going to be successful long term. We're not going to be winners. So if we're going to be fruitful, then the fruit that we're bearing must be worthwhile. We cannot bear rotten fruit. We also got to make sure it's multiplying. We can't just do something one time and we get one thing done and we say, oh, I'm finished. No, it has to be multiples of things that are being done. Because if we don't do that, that one thing is only going to last but a certain period of time. And once it's gone, it's gone. I used to tell young people all the time, you can only spend money one time. And if you hear the millionaires and billionaires, they tell you all the time, you should be making money while you're asleep. Because if you're only making money when you're awake, you're trading hours for dollars, hours for dollars. And you only have but so many hours that you can trade for so many dollars. But when your money is making money while you're asleep, then it's multiplying, it's tripling, it's quadrupling. And so if we want to be fruitful, we need to make sure that that where we're investing our time is giving us a return on our investment. Where we're investing our time is giving us fruit. We're being fruitful. All right, we're coming up on the announcements, acknowledgments, and commemorations. And today, I want to announce a few birthdays and talk a little bit about someone very special. So I'm going to announce their birthdays first, and then I'm going to go back and talk about somebody real special that we don't talk about a lot. So on December the 15th was Donna Brazil's birthday. If you don't know Donna Brazil, she was heavily involved in the Democratic National Party, and at one time she was chairman of the DNC. Samuel L. Jackson, birthday is coming up on December the 21st. Angie Stone and Tyson Beckford, both born on December the 18th. We also have holidays that are coming up. December the 25th, of course, is Christmas, and KWANZAA is December the 26th to January the 1st. Now, with regards to these two holidays, one has become so very commercialized that Christmas is not what it used to be. It's not the same social gathering of family and giving. It is about who can spend the most money, and folks began to look down on a family member that may not be able to make the same purchase as another family member. And it's promoted in the type of television shows that are on, the type of movies that are out there. So I want to caution the community about Christmas, because what we don't want to do is become a group of people, or continually becoming a group of people who spend more time worrying about whether or not I can buy someone. Do they still make Fendi bags? Or worrying about whether I can buy someone some Nikes, or whether or not I can buy the next professional jersey. Those of us who are here in Hampton Roads heard that the possibility of Michael Vick being the new coach for the Norfolk State Spartans. So that's an exciting time. Well, a lot of people, once the deal is inked completely and everything, a lot of people will go out and buy Norfolk State jerseys. Well, do you think they're going to sell them at the same price that they were selling them before Michael Vick came there? Probably not. Do you think there will be a lot of people who will purchase those jerseys that really, truly can't afford it? Well, Christmas is kind of the same way as when someone new or bright or name recognition comes into town and everybody moves to that person. I think it's exciting that he's coming to town. And I hope that as a community, we support Michael Vick, but even more that we support Norfolk State University. One of the things, and this is kind of an announcement as well, one of the things that we did when we were a lot younger is Norfolk State, those of us who lived on the South Side, became our school. Whether we went there or not, we supported that school. And over time, it started dropping off. So my announcement to the listening audience, if you live in Hampton Roads, or if you travel here during the fall of the year when it's football season, stop in, visit Norfolk State, support Norfolk State. And that's my announcement on behalf of NSU. But the person that I want to talk about today is Ella Baker. Ella Baker was born December the 13th, 1903 in Norfolk, Virginia. She was a legendary civil rights activist. And around 1940, Baker became the field secretary for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. She also organized the event that ultimately led to the creation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or what we lovingly call SNCC. She also helped form the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party. And the Mississippi Democratic Freedom Party, you will remember that because of Fannie Lou Hamer, who said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Well, here's this young lady from Norfolk, Virginia, who went out to Mississippi and worked alongside of those civil rights activists out there and helped to form the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party because she wanted to have a voice at the table. Now, Fannie Lou Hamer may have been the face of that speech, but our dear Ella Baker from Norfolk, Virginia, had a lot to do with that party coming into existence. She was also involved with the SCLC. Now, Mrs. Baker died on her birthday, December the 13th, 1986, at the sweet age of 83 years old. Ella Baker, again, was a legendary civil rights activist, and she was right here from Hampton Roads, Virginia. And so today, announcements, acknowledgments, commemoration, we want to announce who she was, acknowledge her works, and commemorate the efforts that she did in order to bring about the changes and the things that are so important for all of us today. Because if you know anything about the SCLC or SNCC or any of those civil rights organizations, they were on the ground. They weren't behind computers, because there were none. They weren't, for the most part, sitting in their houses, because they had to do a lot of walking back in those days, because many times they didn't have vehicles. And then when they did have vehicles, they were traveling around the country. Now, if you're a field secretary for the NAACP, one of the things that you were responsible for was going out into these areas and educating the people about what was going on, because you didn't have a lot of telephones in the early part of the 19th centuries. People didn't have a lot of phones, home phones. You could go to a phone booth and call somebody that did have a telephone. And so Ella was one of those people who was willing to put herself on the line to fight on behalf of our community. So since December was the month of her birth, December was also the month of her death, I felt an obligation to acknowledge Ella Baker. All right. So those are our announcements, our acknowledgments, and our commemoration. And again, you are listening to WVDM with GA for Justice today. And we're on today from 1 until 2 o'clock. We switched the time slot up a little bit today because there were other things going on. And so we moved the slot back a little bit. But for those of you who are listening live, please feel free to share this with your friends and family, and know that you can always listen later. Okay, moving right along. Again, the topic for today is focus, fruitful, and faithful. And these are very, very important things for us to make sure that we keep front and center. We want to stay focused, because I will assure you, and it's already begun, that there are going to be some things that's going to take place that take you off balance. There are going to be some things, there's going to be talk, and you will find that people will have all types of things out there on social media, and they're in a tizzy about so much. And if you don't allow yourself to pull yourself back in, you're going to find that you're going to be spending a whole lot of time, and a lot of time will be wasted worrying about stuff instead of focusing on the things that you can do to bring about significant changes in your own community. You're going to be focusing on things that will not bear any fruit. And when I look at focus, I look at focus as charting a course. Charting a course. You're headed for a destination. And so when you're headed for a destination, you don't get in your car and say, okay, well, I'm going to Atlanta, but I don't know what road I'm going to take. I'm going to Atlanta, but I don't know if I'm going to take the highway or the back roads. I'm going to Atlanta. I don't know if I'm going to fly or take a train or take a bus. If you're charting a course, if you are focused, you will have made those decisions in advance. And you will know in advance if you're going to take a bus, a plane, a train, whether you're going to drive, or whether you're going to walk or ride a bicycle. Because, there are people that walk across country. You know that, right? So there are any number of ways that you can decide on how you're going to get there. You can also say, well, you know what? I'm going to go with a friend. And one of us is going to drive for 4 hours, another going to drive for 4.5 hours. It's charting the course. But you're focused on the fact that you're headed to Atlanta and not to Miami. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's called charting the course. That sometimes people get confused about being focused and being disciplined. And this is how I describe being disciplined. Discipline is simply following a course. When you get up in the morning, you get up and you're disciplined. You may do the same. If you're in the working community, I can't say I'm disciplined as much anymore because I'm not in the working community. But if you're in the working community, you do what? You set your alarm. You're disciplined to that. You get up at a certain time, you brush your teeth, you take your shower, you get dressed, you go downstairs, or if you got one level, you go in your kitchen, you get your coffee, as most people do. You fix your food, your breakfast or whatever, and you get in your car and you head to your job. And you do that over and over and over again. That's why I call it discipline, because you follow a course of action. You don't even have to think about it. But when you chart a course, you better think about it a little bit in advance. So when you're focused and you're charting a course, that's something that you give some thought to. But when you're disciplined, you pretty much do the same thing over and over again. You know, if you're in a type of work setting that tells you that you're going to make 15 widgets a day, every single day, you follow the process. So being disciplined is simply following a process or following a course. But when you are focused, you make the course. You chart the course. You decide on what that course is going to be so that you get to the destination. And so this year, I hope you guys are looking to chart a course. I hope you guys are looking to be focused. I hope that you're looking to be fruitful, and I hope that you're looking to be faithful. Because all of those things are extremely important as we go into the year 2025. When you're faithful, and this is one of the things that's important to us as a community, loyal. There's loyalty in faithfulness. And one of the things that the civil rights movement people had, that we've seen to have lost some of this, is that unity, as in terms of KWANZAA, principle, umoja, unity, we seem to have lost some of that. We've seemed to have lost some of that loyalty, that stick-to-itness, where we could count on a group of people. No matter what, they were going to be there. They were going to have our backs. They were going to be there. They're going to have the back of Dr. King. They were going to be there. It was loyalty. It was steadfastness. The thing of it is, they were unswayed. They were unswayed by the next Johnny come lately. They were unswayed by someone who had the next trinket, or someone who had a silvery tongue. They were unswayed by that because they were loyal to their mission. And they kept their mission front and center to the people. They kept the mission front and center. So one of the things I think will help us as we navigate this new year is make sure that we remind each other of our mission, our focus, our purpose, our destiny, and then make sure that we're loyal and faithful to all of those things. Because if we're not, we are not going to win. if we're not loyal to each other, if we're not loyal to the purpose, if we're not loyal and focused, we're not going to win and we're not going to be successful. And that's going to be detrimental to our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our nieces and our nephews, our family members, but it's also going to be detrimental to our associates. It's going to be detrimental to our associates. If we're involved in organizations and groups, it's important that we can count on each other. It's kind of like Whitney Houston's song, "Count on Me." You can count on me, Whitney and CeCe Winans, you know. They say, "Call on me. I will be there because you can count on me." And we need to know that we're going to be able to count on each other, because next year is probably going to be one of the toughest years in a long time. And so we have to be ready, so we don't have to get ready. We must be ready. And so these last few weeks of this year and the beginning of next year, before the change comes, before the transition takes place, I want to encourage us to stay focused. I want to encourage us to bear fruit. Bear fruit for your family. Bear fruit, because if you're not being fruitful, then you're wasting your time. But you're also wasting the time of those who came to you to help you and to assist you. You're wasting time. And another song is, "Don't Waste My Time." That's a song that, and I know Henderson knows the couple that used to sing that. Don't waste your time.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. I just can't catch it right now.
Yarborough
people.
Yarborough peoples. They used to say, "Don't waste my time." And we have to get in the habit of stop wasting time. We got to stop wasting our time, but we got to stop wasting each other's time. And we do that when we stay focused. We do that when we stay fruitful. We do that when we're working together as a team and we're not operating so much as individuals. We do that when we're united and not divided. We do that when we are useful to the team. We're not wasting each other's time. We're somebody that we can count on. We can count on each other. And so when it comes down to being faithful, there's a loyalty piece in faithfulness. There's a loyalty that we need to know that whatever is going on, whether it's good, bad, ugly, where there's ups, there are downs, we need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we can count on each other. Whether we're in our churches, whether we're in our community events, we need to know that we're able to count on one another. Because if we can't count on each other, then it's going to be very difficult for us to get to the next station in life. It's going to be very difficult when things go sideways. It's going to be difficult for us to know who is trustworthy. It's going to be difficult to know who can be trusted. It's going to be difficult to know who is truly committed and who is not committed. Because this is serious business going into 2025. I just heard about how or whether or not the debt ceiling is going to be raised. And so we got this new guy that's coming in, and he's like, let me get these other guys to raise the debt ceiling, and then I can walk away and give all of the tax breaks that I want to give. and then blame it on the other guys. This
Yep.
affects you, people. This is something that affects you. And so, therefore, you need to know how the wheels are turning. You need to know who is doing what and why, and how that is going to affect you, how that is going to affect your children, and what impact that is going to have on you and your family. All right, Henderson, you got something?
Well, no, I'm just letting them know that we in a time that we got to stay focused and try to work together in the community because you can't keep looking at the news and they're saying they're doing things in the community and our young people are still dying every single day.
Every day.
It's no way you're doing things in the community and kids are still, they're not getting the message and you're not sending the right message, because the only people that's coming out of the community smelling like a rose is the news media. What people don't understand is if they truly understand what the news is the most profitable advertising dollars for television.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they make so much. That's why they always seem that it's always us on TV because they generate the views and then they generate the revenue from the advertising dollars. All you got to do is count how many commercials that run during the news. And if you're doing something positive, you very rarely see that on television. They pick and choose.
Absolutely. And they're intentional about that, aren't they?
Very, very intentional.
Very intentional. Because what they're doing is they're programming you to believe that what they're sharing with you is of value.
Yeah.
They're programming you to believe that this is what's happening everywhere, even though it may be happening in a very minute part of a community or a city. They want to say it over and over again.
Yeah.
So that you'll walk away believing, hello, everybody.
Yeah.
I see somebody is up here.
Yeah, that's Boo Hughes. He's an activist in Virginia Beach. He's
okay.
He has got people out of prison.
Wonderful.
And everything. I probably have him on the show next week.
Okay, awesome.
He's very active in the community.
Well, thank you for listening today. Definitely thank you for listening. But we want to make sure that we're not hoodwinked when you're constantly being bombarded by information and disinformation and misinformation. Okay, because really that's what the media is responsible for. They want eyeballs, okay? They want people watching, and this makes money for them.
Yeah.
So it's important that we too are intentional about what we're doing, how we're educating our community, how we make sure that our people are receiving factual information, how important it is to make sure that we repeat information over and over again. If you notice, we stopped repeating information over and over again. During the period of time of the civil rights movement, we made sure that people understood that they were being paid less than their counterparts doing the same job that they were doing. And so they reminded each other that this is what is taking place.
Yeah.
They reminded each other.
I can vouch for that. Because when I was working at 18, the counter people, just counterparts, they was getting $2 and $3 an hour. And all those black boys was getting $1 an hour.
Right.
Doing the same job.
Doing the same identical job, probably working much harder
and
everything.
Yeah.
Trying to keep your nose clean, doing all of those different things.
Yeah.
And all. And so our civil rights activists made sure that we knew that. And so they focused on that. Again, they charted a course for us. They charted a course because they let us know and they continued to inform us. And they use flyers and leaflets and things of that nature to keep us well informed. And when that leaflet went out, whoever got it shared it with others.
Yeah.
They didn't have copying machines. They had word of mouth. They had foot traffic.
Hello.
They had the church. And so when the people went in church on Sunday or during the week, guess what? The minister also gave the same identical message, and that message flowed throughout the whole entire community.
Yeah.
Because you had faithful leaders. You had faithful organizers. You had faithful activists. You had loyal leaders. You had loyal activists. And so using their blueprint, which is what we should be doing, even though a lot of things have changed, some of those things that they did during the civil rights movement, those blueprints can be used for generations and generations and generations. And so we want to make sure that we are devoted to the cause. We are dedicated to the cause. We are committed to our cause for justice. We are trustworthy. We are honorable. We are faithful and loyal and unified. Yep. And as we come to the close of the show today, we're coming down to the last few minutes and all. And I just want to remind you that we are here every single Thursday on WVDM. And you can listen to us on all of the various different social media outlets. Please share it with your friends, your family. Let them know about it. Because if we're going to change outcomes, we got to keep our community informed. And we can't get bogged down in the misinformation and disinformation. We got to have trustworthy sources that we can go to in order for us to be stronger. Because right now, we're on that cusp. We are on the cusp. And if we don't come together, if we don't unite, and if we don't get rid of these fake leaders and rein them in so that they're working in our best interest, they are working on our behalf. They're working as a united front and not whispering over here with this message and then whispering over here with another message and then coming back to our community with a message that is not in our best interest, but encouraging us to do something that will not work toward our benefit, which means we will not bear fruit. It will mean that what we're doing will not be worthwhile. What we're doing will not be constructive or productive. What we're doing will not bring benefits or resources back into our community. And bearing fruit means that we need to know that our council members, they're going to bring resources to our community that is of value, that is of benefit. We need to know that our school board leaders are going to bring benefits and resources back to our community that is going to be beneficial to our young people and help them to be successful. And all of those benefits don't necessarily mean that all the children are going to college. I just saw on the news where Princess Anne High School had students that participated in a technology event on the congressional level, and we had 3 students from Princess Anne High School who were winners because of 2 different apps that they did. One young person did an app, and that app was about, they utilize AI. And so we need to be aware of these things that are taking place out here so that when these opportunities avail themselves, that our children are aware of it. Now, I don't know how many people were aware of these apps that these young people were designing and making and receiving awards from. And these are in every congressional district. It's called the Congressional App Challenge. And so it has to show a record of congressional participation, a record of student participation. They have to record the number of apps that are submitted. They have to keep a record of the states that are receiving apps. They have to record the apps per district. So in our district, we are in District 2, Congressional District 2, they had a student to receive first place for their app. It was called Visual AI. And what this does is this app utilizes artificial intelligence to enhance and assist visually impaired individuals by providing real-time descriptions of their surroundings. An app, okay? An app. The second place winner also attends Princeton High School, and they developed an app called ChessWise. And so this ChessWise app, rather than learning how to play chess in the traditional methods, this application allows people to get real-time feedback to improve their chess skills. 2 apps that was done here in the city of Virginia Beach by 3 students total, because one did it as a team and the other one did it as an individual. So with that being said, I want you to stay focused. I want you to be fruitful, and I want you to be faithful. This is Georgia Allen with GA4 Justice, coming to you every single solitary Thursday here on WVDM.
Well, that's another show for this year. I don't know if it's the last one of the year, but hey, getting close to the new year. One more?
Yeah, because Wednesday is Christmas and Thursday is the day after Christmas. So it's the first day of KWANZAA.
Oh, okay. Well, once again, a great show. And I want to thank each and every one of those people that chimed in and all the people that are chime in later, because you get good numbers on your show on the platforms. I just haven't lately shared them with you, but you know, your show is almost beating mine, and I'm getting a little jealous. That's why I ain't told you yet. You know, that's why I ain't told you yet, because
we're gonna get together, because I got some ideas, but I think we need to meet in person. So I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to going into the new year. I got some ideas about things that you and I can collaborate with on. Right. Just getting information to the community is critical.
That's basically, you know, it ain't no throwing shade on nobody. It's just that we have to come together to make sure that they have a platform that they know people are caring, sincere, and it's not about race or greed or color. It's about the truth.
Exactly.
Because God don't look at color. He looks at your spirit. Mm-hmm. So with that said, hope everybody have a blessed Christmas, a wonderful Christmas. And Georgia, I'll be talking to you real soon.
All right. Talk to you later. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Merry Christmas to all.